Mark Zuckerberg, from Harvard dorm room to architect of the digital universe. Some life stories go far beyond personal success. They reshape the way the world itself functions. The story of Mark Zuckerberg is one of those. From a young coder in a Harvard dorm room, he became the founder of Facebook, a platform that today connects more than 3 billion people. And he didn't stop there. Zuckerberg has bet his career on building the metaverse, a new digital universe where the future of humanity might be redefined. Whether you admire him or criticize him, Mark Zuckerberg's journey contains invaluable lessons: the courage to dream big, the resilience to stand firm through storms, the boldness to embrace mistakes, and the relentless drive to innovate. His life is not just a tale of technology or entrepreneurship. It's a story of belief, persistence, and the pursuit of leaving an imprint on the world. Throughout history, certain individuals leave behind legacies not only because of what they built, but because they fundamentally altered how people live, think, and connect. Mark Zuckerberg is one of those rare figures. When people hear his name, the first thought is usually Facebook, the social network that has shaped the digital era, a place where billions share their lives. But to stop there is to miss the essence. Zuckerberg didn't just build a company, he created a new global infrastructure of connection. And in doing so, he forever changed the way humanity perceives communication, information, and even identity. So why should we study Zuckerberg? There are at least 3 powerful reasons. The power of a young vision. Most people believe youth is a time for preparation, for learning, trying, and waiting until conditions are right. Zuckerberg proved the opposite. At just 19 years old, he didn't wait for maturity. He acted. A small idea in a Harvard dorm room became the foundation for a platform that connected billions. The message here is clear. Age is not a barrier. It's an opportunity. Sometimes the innocence of youth allows us to dream dreams that adults consider impossible. The strength to withstand criticism and trials. Zuckerberg's journey hasn't been paved only with glory. He has faced countless lawsuits, partner disputes, shareholder pressure, congressional hearings, and global crises of trust. Yet he never collapsed under the weight of criticism. He showed the world that true leadership isn't about avoiding storms, but about steering through them. In today's hyper-connected world, where failures can go viral in seconds, such resilience is one of the greatest strengths a person can have. The boldness to redefine the future. Zuckerberg could have rested on the success of Facebook, but instead, he shifted his company's mission entirely toward a new frontier, the metaverse. This is proof of a rare trait, the willingness to step out of the comfort zone into the unknown. While many corporations cling to the status quo, Zuckerberg staked everything on a future few can yet imagine. This makes his story not only about success, but also about the courage of constant reinvention. To view Zuckerberg only as a billionaire tech mogul would be to miss the deeper truth. His life reflects 3 timeless messages. You are never too young to dream big. No path to greatness is without struggle. And the future belongs to those who dare to imagine it. Learning about Mark Zuckerberg is not about becoming a copy of him, but about learning to see the world with bolder eyes, to hold on to ideals in the face of storms, and to keep moving forward when others hesitate. Mark Zuckerberg is far from perfect, and that imperfection makes his story even more relatable. He has made mistakes, faced harsh criticism, yet he continues to push forward. His life teaches us that success doesn't mean never falling. It means always rising after each fall. Looking at his journey helps us understand the era we live in, an age of connection, speed, and relentless innovation. More importantly, it challenges each of us with a question. If I have my own Facebook, an idea, a project, a dream, do I have the courage to pursue it? Every great story has a beginning. For Mark Zuckerberg, that beginning wasn't Silicon Valley boardrooms, billion-dollar acquisitions, or headlines on the world stage. It was a small suburban town in New York, within a family that valued curiosity, education, and persistence. Mark Elliott Zuckerberg was born on May 14, 1984, in White Plains, New York, and grew up in Dobbs Ferry, a modest village along the Hudson River. His parents, Edward and Karen Zuckerberg, played a critical role in shaping his early outlook on life. Edward, a dentist, ran his practice from their home, while Karen, a psychiatrist, was deeply attuned to the importance of mental resilience and understanding human behavior. Together, they created an environment where intellectual exploration was encouraged and where curiosity was nurtured, not dismissed. A childhood fueled by curiosity from a very young age, Mark showed signs of extraordinary curiosity. While many kids were content to play video games, young Mark wanted to understand how those games worked. His father noticed this unusual fascination and supported it by introducing him to programming. By the age of 12, Mark had already built his first software program, a simple communication tool called ZuckNet that allowed computers in his father's dental office to send messages to one another. Think about that. While most preteens were concerned about school projects or playground games, Mark was building communication systems that had real-world utility. This wasn't just a sign of intelligence. It was an early glimpse of his desire to create tools that connect people, a theme that would define his entire career. The role of family support, the Zuckerberg household was not a place of strict rules or rigid expectations. Instead, it was a place where ideas were welcomed and experiments were encouraged. Edward often joked that his dental office doubled as a technology lab because of Mark's innovations. Karen, with her background in psychology, understood the importance of nurturing not just intelligence, but also emotional stability. This combination of intellectual freedom and emotional grounding became the foundation upon which Mark's character was built. He learned that exploration was valuable, that mistakes were part of the process, and that resilience mattered as much as intelligence. Education. Where passion met opportunity, Mark attended Ardsley High School before transferring to Phillips Exeter Academy, one of the most prestigious prep schools in the United States. At Exeter, he not only excelled academically, but also developed a reputation as a programming prodigy. He created games, software tools, and even a music recommendation system called Synapse, which functioned like an early version of Spotify. Tech giants like Microsoft and AOL quickly noticed Synapse and offered to buy it, along with offering Mark a job. But in a decision that foreshadowed his long-term mindset, Mark turned them down. Instead of chasing quick money, he chose to continue his education and pursue bigger opportunities. That choice reflected a key trait that would define his later success: the ability to see beyond immediate rewards and focus on the long game. Harvard, the crucible of destiny, in 2002. Mark entered Harvard University. Here, surrounded by some of the brightest minds in the world, he found the perfect environment to test his skills and creativity. He studied psychology and computer science, an interesting combination that merged the understanding of human behavior with the mechanics of technology. Harvard was more than just an academic institution for Mark. It was a playground for innovation. He quickly gained a reputation as the campus tech wizard. One of his early creations, Course Match, allowed students to choose classes based on the decisions of others, a small glimpse into his fascination with social dynamics. Another project, FaceMash, allowed students to compare photos of their classmates. Although FaceMash was controversial and quickly shut down by the university, it showcased something deeper: Mark's relentless drive to experiment, to push boundaries, and to learn from feedback, even if it came in the form of criticism. What many saw as a misstep, Mark treated as a stepping stone. He didn't Zuckerberg has shown that his motivation comes from impact, not approval. In one of his speeches, he stated, "The question I ask myself like almost every day is, am I doing the most important thing I could be doing?" This simple but profound question reflects a mindset rooted in meaning. Zuckerberg isn't driven by the desire to be liked or admired. He is driven by the mission of building tools that matter. Even in the face of criticism, whether over privacy scandals, political debates, or product changes, Zuckerberg remains focused. Critics come and go, but the mission stays. This is a valuable lesson. When your purpose is strong enough, criticism loses its power over you. Embracing failure as a pathway to growth. Zuckerberg's early project FaceMash at Harvard was controversial and got him into trouble. Many would have been embarrassed or discouraged, but he saw it as a stepping stone. It taught him about social interaction online, about the importance of privacy, and about the scale of engagement people wanted. Without FaceMash, there may never have been Facebook. This ability to embrace failure is critical. Zuckerberg reminds us that failure isn't the opposite of success. It is a component of success. Every failure provides data, and every setback builds resilience. Resilience in the face of pressure. Few leaders have faced the level of global scrutiny that Zuckerberg has endured. From lawsuits with co-founders, to testifying before Congress, to navigating public outrage during scandals, his leadership has been tested repeatedly. Yet one trait stands out: calm resilience. Zuckerberg rarely reacts emotionally in public. Instead, he maintains focus, accepts responsibility when needed, and then doubles down on the mission. This resilience is not about ignoring criticism, but about maintaining clarity when others are distracted by noise. It is a reminder that leadership requires emotional strength as much as intellectual ability. Constant learning and reinvention. Despite his success, Zuckerberg never stopped learning. He taught himself Mandarin to connect with his wife's family and to better understand China's culture. He reads widely and often sets personal growth challenges, like running a mile a day or reading a book every 2 weeks. This mindset reflects humility. Even as one of the world's youngest billionaires, he sees himself as a student of life, constantly evolving. His philosophy echoes the wisdom of other great innovators. The moment you stop learning, you stop growing. Building for humanity, not just profit. Through the Chan Zuckerberg Initiative, Mark and his wife, Priscilla Chan, pledged to donate 99% of their Facebook shares to causes like education, science, and equality. This act underscores a core belief that technology and wealth should ultimately serve humanity. While some have questioned motives, the principle remains inspiring. True legacy isn't measured by net worth, but by the lives you improve. A philosophy for the future taken together. Zuckerberg's philosophy can be summarized in a few key ideas. Dare to risk boldly. Safety is the real danger. Learn by doing. Perfection is the enemy of progress. Think long-term. Today's sacrifices create tomorrow's breakthroughs. Focus on impact. Applause fades. Meaningful work endures. Stay resilient. Leadership means calm in the storm. Never stop learning. Growth is a lifelong journey. Build for humanity. Legacy is service, not status. These principles, lived consistently, explain not only how Zuckerberg built Facebook, but also how he continues to push boundaries in pursuit of the metaverse. They also reveal why, despite criticism, he remains a figure of fascination and influence. Because his philosophy is not tied to fleeting trends, but to enduring truths about risk, resilience, and vision. Every visionary has defining moments, crossroads where choices shape destiny. For Mark Zuckerberg, his journey from a Harvard dorm room to the helm of one of the world's most powerful technology companies is filled with such turning points. His story is not just about success. It's about making bold decisions under uncertainty, overcoming failures, and embracing change before the world even realizes it's necessary. The Spark at Harvard, The Birth of an Idea, 2003-2004. The journey began in the ivy-covered walls of Harvard University, Zuckerberg, then a sophomore, already had a reputation as a gifted programmer. He was constantly experimenting, building small but impactful tools that played with the idea of connection. In 2003, he built FaceMash, a site that allowed students to compare photos of classmates side by side and vote on attractiveness. While the site quickly became popular, it also landed him in trouble with Harvard's administration for using student photos without permission. Yet even this so-called failure was significant. It revealed something powerful. People craved digital social interaction. In early 2004, Zuckerberg, along with roommates Eduardo Saverin, Dustin Moskovitz, and Chris Hughes, launched the Facebook. At first, it was a simple site restricted to Harvard students, but its addictive nature caused it to spread quickly across Ivy League schools, then across U.S. universities, and soon beyond. That was the first turning point. An experiment transformed into a movement. The leap to Silicon Valley, 2004-2005. Recognizing the explosive growth, Zuckerberg made a bold decision. He dropped out of Harvard and moved to Silicon Valley to fully dedicate himself to building Facebook. This choice was not easy. Harvard was prestige, security, and status. But Zuckerberg chose uncertainty. A rented house in Palo Alto became Facebook's first headquarters. This was a critical turning point, embodying his philosophy of risk-taking. By betting on his vision rather than the safe path, Zuckerberg unlocked the opportunity to scale Facebook into a global platform. During this time, venture capitalist Peter Thiel invested $500,000, giving Facebook the financial foundation to expand. The company grew rapidly, hiring engineers and building infrastructure to handle millions of users. The first big temptation, saying no to $1 billion, 2006. By 2006, Facebook had grown to millions of users, and Yahoo offered to acquire it for $1 billion. For a 22-year-old college dropout, this was life-changing money, enough to ensure financial security forever. Zuckerberg stunned the world by saying no. Why? Because he believed Facebook was only at the beginning. He wasn't interested in selling, he was interested in building. That refusal was one of the most defining decisions in his career. Had he sold, Facebook would have likely faded into history as another tech acquisition. Instead, Zuckerberg's conviction set Facebook on a trajectory to become the dominant social platform of the digital age. Going global, from millions to billions, 2007-2012. Facebook expanded rapidly, opening up to everyone over 13 with a valid email address. The platform's simple design, focus on real identities, and clean user experience differentiated it from MySpace, the dominant social network of the time. By 2007, Facebook had more than 50 million users. Microsoft invested $240 million, valuing the company at $15 billion. By 2012, Facebook surpassed 1 billion users, a milestone no social network had ever achieved. But success wasn't without obstacles. Zuckerberg faced lawsuits from the Winklevoss twins, who claimed he had stolen their idea for a social network. He also navigated tensions with co-founder Eduardo Saverin, which were later dramatized in the movie The Social Network. Yet, through every storm, Zuckerberg remained focused on growth and execution. He wasn't distracted by drama. He was obsessed with building, the IPO and the mobile revolution, 2012. In May 2012, Facebook went public in one of the largest IPOs in history, raising $16 billion. However, the IPO was rocky, with stock prices falling sharply after the debut. Critics questioned whether Facebook could survive, especially as users shifted from desktop to mobile. This was a make-or-break moment. Zuckerberg responded with clarity. Facebook would prioritize mobile, even if it meant reinventing the platform. He shifted resources, redesigned products, and ensured that Facebook was not just relevant but dominant on smartphones. This decision proved pivotal. By adapting quickly to the mobile revolution, Facebook secured its future. Today, the majority of Facebook's revenue and engagement comes from mobile, a testament to that bold pivot. Acquisitions that changed everything: Instagram and I. WhatsApp, 2012-2014. Another set of turning points came through acquisitions. In 2012, Facebook bought Instagram for $1 billion, a decision many mocked at the time, calling it overpriced for a small photo-sharing app. Yet Instagram would grow to over 2 billion users, becoming one of the most influential platforms of the decade. In 2014, Facebook acquired WhatsApp for $19 billion. Again, critics laughed. But WhatsApp is now one of the most used messaging apps worldwide, with over 2 billion users. These bold acquisitions ensured Facebook wasn't just a social network, it was an ecosystem. They also highlighted Zuckerberg's foresight. He didn't just want to dominate one platform. He wanted to own the future of digital communication. Challenges, scandals, and resilience, 2016-2020. With great power came great scrutiny. Facebook became embroiled in controversies over fake news, election interference, and user privacy. Most notably, the Cambridge Analytica scandal in 2018, which exposed the misuse of millions of users' data. Zuckerberg was called to testify before Congress, grilled by lawmakers on global television. It was a public test of his leadership. Many CEOs might have crumbled under such pressure, but Zuckerberg faced the storm head-on, admitting mistakes, implementing reforms, and pushing forward. These crises revealed both the dangers of scale and the resilience required to lead under fire. They showed that success is not just about innovation, but about responsibility and the willingness to evolve in response to global challenges. The Metaverse Bet. Reinventing the future, 2021 present. Perhaps Zuckerberg's boldest turning point came in 2021, when he announced that Facebook was rebranding to Meta, signaling a new mission, building the metaverse. This wasn't a small pivot. It was a radical reinvention of the company's identity. While critics mocked the idea as premature or unrealistic, Zuckerberg remained committed. He described the metaverse as the next evolution of the internet, a 3D, immersive digital world where people can work, play, and connect. The move reflects Zuckerberg's defining trait, a willingness to bet the present for the future. Just as he embraced mobile when others doubted it, he is now betting on virtual and augmented reality as the next frontier of human interaction. The common thread, vision, pause, bold choices. Looking at these turning points, one theme is clear. Zuckerberg's journey has been defined by bold decisions at critical moments. Launching Facebook despite risks, dropping out of Harvard to pursue a dream, saying no to a billion-dollar acquisition, pivoting to mobile when the company stumbled, acquiring Instagram and WhatsApp against the critics' advice, rebranding to Meta and betting on the metaverse. Each decision carried risk, controversy, and uncertainty. But together, they built one of the most powerful companies of the 21st century. Lessons from the journey Zuckerberg's path teaches us that success is not a straight line. It is a series of leaps into the unknown, guided by vision and executed with resilience. The turning points in his career remind us that failure can plant the seed of greatness. Facebook. The boldest decisions define legacy. Rejecting Yahoo's offer. Adaptability is survival. Mobile pivot saved Facebook. Acquisitions can be vision, not just strategy. Instagram and WhatsApp. The future belongs to those who invent it. The Metaverse Bet. When we study the life of a visionary like Mark Zuckerberg, it's not about trying to copy him or replicate his exact path. It's about extracting the timeless principles that guided his decisions, the mindset that allowed him to endure storms, and the habits that helped him shape the modern digital era. His story is full of lessons that can inspire not only entrepreneurs, but anyone striving to live with more courage, purpose, and impact. Here are some of the most powerful lessons from Zuckerberg's life. Start before you're ready. Zuckerberg didn't wait until he had a perfect plan to launch Facebook. He didn't spend years analyzing the market, writing elaborate strategies, or waiting for approval. He simply built something, tested it, and improved it along the way. Too often, people delay action because they feel unprepared. But the truth is, you will never feel 100% ready. Zuckerberg's story shows us that momentum is built through action, not perfection. If you have an idea, take the first step today. Ideas don't come out fully formed. They only become clear as you work on them. You just have to get started. Mark Zuckerberg. Focus on mission, not money. When Yahoo offered $1 billion to acquire Facebook in 2006, Zuckerberg turned it down. At just 22 years old, that was an unimaginable amount of money. But he refused because his vision wasn't about getting rich. It was about building a platform that connected the world. This lesson is crucial. If your mission is authentic and powerful, money will follow. But if you chase money alone, you may lose sight of building something meaningful. Zuckerberg teaches us that purpose is the fuel for long-term success. The biggest risk is not taking any risk. Zuckerberg's career is a case study in risk-taking. Dropping out of Harvard, turning down billion-dollar offers, betting on mobile when others doubted it, and rebranding Facebook as Meta in pursuit of the metaverse. Each of these decisions involved enormous risk, but also enormous potential. Playing it safe may protect you in the short term, but it guarantees mediocrity in the long term. His philosophy is clear. Risk is the gateway to transformation. Embrace failure as feedback, from FaceMash's shutdown to the rocky Facebook IPO. Zuckerberg has faced public setbacks, but he never treated failure as final. Instead, he treated it as feedback. This mindset is liberating. It means you don't have to fear mistakes. Every mistake is a teacher. Every failure contains data. What matters is not avoiding failure, but learning from it quickly and moving forward. Build relentlessly. Execution matters more than ideas. Many people think success comes from having the right idea, but as Zuckerberg himself has said, execution is everything. Thousands of people had ideas for social networks before Facebook, but Zuckerberg and his team executed with speed, simplicity, and relentless improvement. The lesson: ideas are cheap, execution is priceless. What separates dreamers from doers is the discipline to act every single day, even when progress feels small. Adaptability. Is survival perhaps one of Zuckerberg's greatest strengths? Is adaptability. When Facebook's IPO stumbled, many thought the company was doomed. Instead, Zuckerberg pivoted aggressively toward mobile, rebuilding Facebook as a mobile-first platform. Later, seeing the rise of visual sharing, he acquired Instagram. Seeing the dominance of messaging, he acquired WhatsApp. Each move reflected adaptability. He didn't cling to the past. He embraced the future. This lesson is vital. Rigid people break. Adaptable people thrive. Surround yourself with talent. Zuckerberg has always been intentional about surrounding himself with people who challenge him. From co-founders to engineers, from mentors like Steve Jobs to executives like Sheryl Sandberg, he leveraged the brilliance of others. He once said, "The trick isn't adding more stuff. It's about removing distractions and focusing on the things that really matter." Part of that focus is knowing what you don't know and hiring people who are better than you in those areas. True greatness isn't built alone. It's built in teams. 8. Stay calm. Under fire when Zuckerberg testified before Congress during the Cambridge Analytica scandal, the world watched. Millions expected him to collapse under pressure. But he stayed calm, answered with composure, and weathered the storm. This calmness in crisis is a powerful lesson. Emotions are contagious in leadership. If you panic, your team panics. If you remain calm, your team stays steady. Keep learning and challenging yourself. Despite being a billionaire in his 20s, Zuckerberg never stopped learning. He gave himself personal challenges, like learning Mandarin, running 365 miles in a year, or reading a book every 2 weeks. These challenges kept him humble and hungry. They reminded him that no matter how successful he became, he was still a student of life. This is a lesson for all of us. Growth is a daily discipline, not a one-time achievement. 10. Build for legacy. Not just success through the Chan Zuckerberg initiative, Mark and his wife, Priscilla Chan, committed to giving away 99% of their wealth to philanthropy. Their focus on education, healthcare, and science shows that Zuckerberg's vision extends beyond profits. It's about legacy. This reminds us of a profound truth. Success is what you achieve for yourself, but legacy is what you leave behind for others. The core takeaway. If we distill all of Zuckerberg's lessons into one core truth, it is this: greatness comes from daring to build boldly, learning relentlessly, and staying true to your mission, even when the world doubts you. His life shows us that success isn't reserved for the most brilliant or the most privileged. It's reserved for those who act, adapt, and persist. It's one thing to admire the story of Mark Zuckerberg. It's another to apply the lessons of his journey to your own life. The beauty of his philosophy is that it isn't limited to billionaires or tech entrepreneurs. The principles that guided him can empower anyone, whether you're a student, a professional, an entrepreneur, or someone simply seeking a more meaningful life. Here's how you can bring Zuckerberg's lessons into your daily routine. Start before you're ready. Build momentum through action. Zuckerberg launched Facebook as a messy, imperfect product. If he had waited until everything was polished, Facebook might never have existed. How you can apply it. Choose one idea, project, or dream you've been putting off. Take one small action today. Send an email, create a draft, make a prototype. Commit to progress, not perfection. Practical exercise. Write down one project you've been delaying because you don't feel ready. Break it into the smallest possible step and do it today. Define your mission. Go beyond money and applause. Zuckerberg refused billion-dollar offers because he wasn't chasing money. He was chasing impact. How you can apply it. Ask yourself, what is the deeper mission behind my work or goals? Write a personal mission statement in one sentence. Example: to create opportunities that help people grow, or to inspire creativity in others. Use this mission as your compass when making decisions. Daily habit. At the end of each day, ask, did I take at least one action aligned with my mission today? 3. Take smart risks. Play to win, not just to survive. Zuckerberg dropped out of Harvard and bet everything on Facebook. Later, he bet big again on Instagram, WhatsApp, and the metaverse. How you can apply it. Identify areas where you've been playing too safe. List one bold step that could move you closer to your vision. Evaluate the downside risk. If failure is survivable, take the leap. Practical exercise. Once a week, do something that scares you but aligns with your growth. Pitch an idea, reach out to a mentor, or try something outside your comfort zone. Reframe failure as feedback. Learn relentlessly. Zuckerberg turned setbacks like FaceMash and Facebook's IPO struggles into stepping stones. How you can apply it. Redefine failure. Instead of I failed, say I learned. Keep a failure journal where you write down lessons from each setback. Celebrate attempts, not just outcomes. Daily habit. At night, reflect. What went wrong today, and what can I learn from it? 5. Execute relentlessly. Discipline beats ideas. Zuckerberg reminds us that ideas are worthless without execution. Facebook's success came from continuous improvement, not just invention. How you can apply it. Set clear daily priorities. Choose the top 3 tasks that matter most. Work on them before anything else. Create accountability. Tell a friend or mentor about your goals. Practical exercise. Every morning, write down your 3 most important tasks. Don't end your day until they're done. Stay adaptable. Reinvent yourself. When needed, Zuckerberg pivoted Facebook to mobile and later to the metaverse. His adaptability saved the company and kept it relevant. How you can apply it. Ask regularly, what has changed in my field, and how do I need to adapt? Don't cling to old methods if they no longer work. Treat change as an opportunity, not a threat. Practical exercise. Once a month, Review your goals and strategies. Adjust them based on new information or trends. Build a strong circle. Surround yourself with talent. Zuckerberg surrounded himself with brilliant co-founders, engineers and leaders like Sheryl Sandberg. How you can apply it. Identify the 5 people you spend the most time with. Do they challenge you, inspire you, or drain you? Seek mentors, peers, and friends who elevate your standards. Be intentional about building a growth environment. Practical exercise. Reach out to one person each week who inspires you. Invite them for coffee, ask a question, or simply start a conversation. Stay calm in the storm. Emotional strength. Is leadership? Zuckerberg's composure during public crises shows the power of emotional control. How you can apply it. Practice pausing before reacting in stressful situations. Develop a grounding practice. Breathing, journaling, meditation. Remember, calmness inspires confidence. Daily habit. Before any stressful meeting or situation, take 3 deep breaths and visualize yourself responding calmly. Keep learning. Challenge yourself. Constantly. Zuckerberg's personal challenges, like learning Mandarin, kept him growing. Even as a billionaire, how you can apply it. Set a yearly personal growth challenge. Learn a new skill outside your profession. Read widely to expand your thinking. Practical exercise. Choose one skill you've always wanted to learn. Dedicate just 20 minutes a day to it. 10. Build for legacy. Make an impact beyond yourself through the Chan Zuckerberg Initiative. Mark and Priscilla committed to giving away 99% of their Facebook shares to philanthropy. How you can apply it. Think about the legacy you want to leave. Ask, how can I use my talents and resources to serve others? Remember, true success is measured by impact, not income. Daily habit. Do one small act of service each day. Help a colleague, encourage someone, or share knowledge freely. A daily checklist inspired by Zuckerberg. Here's a simple daily routine based on his principles. Take one action toward your big dream. I'd do something that aligns with your mission. Step outside your comfort zone. Reflect on one failure and its lesson. Complete your top 3 tasks. Check if you're adapting to new realities. Connect with someone who inspires you. Practice calmness under stress. I learned something new. Do one act of service. The power of application. Mark Zuckerberg's story is inspiring, but inspiration alone fades. Application is what transforms lives. By integrating his lessons into daily habits, you begin to embody the same mindset that allowed him to build, adapt, and lead on a global scale. Remember, Zuckerberg wasn't born a billionaire or a visionary. He was a curious kid who took action, learned from mistakes, and stayed focused on impact. You can do the same. Every great story leaves us with a choice. We can admire it from afar, treating it as entertainment, or we can allow it to ignite something within us, transforming how we see ourselves and what we believe is possible. The story of Mark Zuckerberg is not just about technology, business, or billions of dollars. It is about daring to believe that a single idea, born in a small dorm room, can ripple outward and reshape the entire world. When we look at Zuckerberg's journey, what do we truly see? We see a young man who didn't wait for permission to start. We see someone who faced criticism, lawsuits, congressional hearings, and still stood firm. We see a leader who made bold bets when the safe choice was to cash out. And most importantly, we see a human being, imperfect, flawed, but relentless in pursuing a vision that mattered to him. This is the essence of greatness, not perfection, but persistence. Not a life without storms, but the courage to keep steering through them. Zuckerberg's story asks us a simple but profound question. What would happen if you stopped waiting and started building? Think about your own dorm room idea. It may not be a social network. It could be a book you've been meaning to write, a business you've been afraid to start, a skill you've been postponing, or a cause you've wanted to fight for. What matters is not the scale of the dream, but the courage to pursue it. You don't need billions to change lives. You don't need the perfect conditions. What you need is the willingness to begin, the persistence to continue, and the faith to keep going even when no one else believes. Mark Zuckerberg reminds us that failure is not the enemy. He failed with FaceMash. He stumbled with Facebook's IPO. He was criticized endlessly during crises. And yet, each failure became a stepping stone toward greater impact. So ask yourself, what would I attempt if I were not afraid of failing? If you can reframe failure as feedback, if you can see setbacks as teachers, then there is no limit to what you can achieve. Every obstacle becomes a lesson. Every mistake becomes a gift. At the end of the day, Zuckerberg's greatest lesson is not about coding, startups, or money. It's about impact. Through Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, and Meta, he created platforms that connect billions of people. Through the Chan Zuckerberg Initiative, he committed to using wealth for global good. And that raises a challenge for each of us. What legacy will I leave? You don't need to be the founder of a giant company to leave a legacy. Sometimes your legacy is in the way you raise your children, the kindness you show to others, the courage you model in your community, or the work you dedicate yourself to. Legacy is not measured in billions of users. It is measured in the lives you touch. If Mark Zuckerberg's story teaches us anything, it's this. The world does not change by people who wait. It changes by people who start, imperfectly, courageously, persistently. So here's your challenge. Identify your dream. Take one bold step toward it today, and refuse to give up no matter how messy, uncertain, or difficult it gets. Because somewhere in that process, you may discover your own version of Facebook, the one idea, project, or decision that transforms not just your life,